Hello, today we're going to talk about revision skills. Now, revision skills are an unbelievably important skill that you need in order to be good at passing exams. Now, passing exams is something that's very important in a huge range of subjects, but also as if you go into university or other things, or have to complete any work exams or anything like that, being able to understand how to revise effectively is so very important. There are a few key revision tips that I want to share with you just to start off. First, in order to do effective revision, you must get rid of distractions. You can't focus on anything if you've got something there that you know that's going to pull your attention away. And for most of you young people, that is your phone. Now, that's also true of me. If I have to work hard on anything or focus on anything for any length of time, I make sure that my phone isn't right in front of my face. Even having it in the room with you can be very distracting because you'll be listening out for it or wanting to go up and check it and see if anything's happened. So if you're going to set aside some time for studying, make sure you go and put your phone in another room or give it to your mum or dad or whoever looks after you so that you are not distracted by it. Also, to prevent yourself from getting distracted, make sure that you've got everything you need before you get started. So you've got the pens, paper, the textbook, if you need your laptop or whatever. Make sure it's all there, because if you sit down to start and you're done working for 5 minutes and then suddenly realize, oh, I need to get another colour of pen or I need to go and get that textbook to look something up, then it's just going to lead to you being more distracted and you'll not focus. It's just an excuse for you to go away and do something else. So make sure you've got everything there before you start. There are a huge number of times when I've looked at somebody's notes and I thought, oh, they're fantastically neat. They're so impressive looking. But that's not what revision notes are about. It's not about how good you can make them look. And sometimes you see people spend a huge amount of time, having wonderful titles and fantastic kind of bits and things like that. No, that's not what revision should be about. Revision should be about being effective, not about being neat. So focus on making your revision good. Don't focus on making it tidy, because if you focus on making it tidy, then you're not devoting as much attention as you should to actually learning the topics. And finally, don't overdo it. You can't revise for 5 hours straight. It's not possible. Your brain is not meant to work that way. So set yourself little breaks, at least every hour. So if you've been working for 50 minutes, give yourself 10 minutes to go and play a game or go outside or to go and play with your dog or something like that. Whatever is going to allow you a little chance to recharge your batteries. Now, when we're talking about revision strategies, there's a few key things to remember. The most important thing is that you've got to make your brain work. That means that you've got to actually be engaging. So copying your notes from a jotter, so taking notes and just copying them out to a bit of paper, that's not going to work. I used to do that when I was a lot younger. I used to do stuff like that, and it is useless. It doesn't help you learn anything. So effective studying must involve actually making your brain think about the topic. You must be engaging with it. There'll be loads of times that you'll know that you've copied stuff down from the board or you copied some notes down and you think, I've no idea what these notes say, because you've not really been reading it. You've not been fully focusing your attention on it. So making your brain think is what makes revision work. So this means you've got to do something with the information. So if you've got notes written down, you've got to actually change them in some way. So it can't just be copying them. You must take that information and get your brain to process it in some way. We're going to look at a couple of ways that we can do that. So one of the ways that I use when I study is summarizing. So that means that you are attempting to summarize the kind of key information. So it means taking a complex idea or a topic or something like that and trying to sum it up briefly. For example, you might try to summarize a certain topic in a few sentences, or you might try and force yourself to summarize a key idea in 5 words. Summarizing forces your brain to focus on the most important aspects. It forces you to think about, right, what is important here? What is it that I really need to remember? And by engaging in summarizing tasks, your brain is really working, it's considering, and it means that it's really thinking about it. Another tactic that I use is prioritizing. Prioritizing is just about taking a series of facts or explanations or causes or things like that and organising them by importance. So for example, you might sort factors from the most to the least important. So it might be a question about why the slave trade was abolished. You might look at which was the most important, which was the least important. It might be about, why did the British win, or the Allies win the Battle of the Atlantic? Why did Labour win the 1945 general election? These sort of things. Trying to look at them and think about, right, what is the most important one, what is the least important one, and that forces your brain to really engage with information. You might also think about what's the least common. So if you're thinking about, for example, women's war work, what's the most common thing that women did? So that might be something like the land army. What's the least common thing? Well, there weren't very many female police officers. But forcing yourself to kind of think about these things, again, it really engages your brain. Prioritizing, it forces your brain to think how things relate to each other and how causes and effects are linked and how basically complex explanations can be understood. So prioritizing is a really, really important method of revision, of studying. And finally, drawing. Now, this may seem like quite a silly one, but I've always found drawing pictures to be really, really effective when it comes to summarizing information. So, as we said, in order to revise effectively, you need to change the information from one format to another. So if you've got information that's written down, trying to draw a pictorial form of that forces your brain to really engage and think about, do I understand this? Can I put this in a picture form? So creating a series of pictures about key information can be really, really good. Now, you don't have to be artistic. I am famously one of the worst drawers in the history of the universe. So it doesn't matter. You can use stickmen, you can use very basic drawings. It's just there to help you revise. You're not looking to be the next, Picasso. You're just looking to make sure that your brain is working hard. So some of the things you might do for this is you might draw the main causes of the event. So you might attempt to kind of have a little picture of various causes, or you might draw the most important features of the topic. It will be a case of trying to draw things so that you make sure you understand them. Also, it can be really helpful to try and draw concepts and ideas. So how would I draw abolition? How would I draw communism? How would I draw immigration? Using drawing to engage with these ideas is something that really, really works. And you'll see that advertisement and newspapers think they use pictures because pictures are easy to understand, but they're hard to produce. So once you've kind of got an idea into a good kind of pictorial form, it can make it a very good way to look back over your revision as well. So they are the three main ways that I use to revise. Obviously, you'll find a lot of other ways that you might find more useful about doing flashcards or mind maps or things like that. There's loads of different methods, but whatever you're doing, make sure you're taking information from one format and putting it into another so that your brain is actively engaged in the revision, because if it's not, you will not be revising.